Hey guys, it's Molly here with Design Loves Detail. We're talking about another hot home trend that we're going to be seeing into 2022, so stay tuned to check it out. Alrighty, so I have called this new series, Hot Home Trends for 2022. But you know, when I think about it more, I kind of wish I would have called it Timeless Trends, because for me, like I've talked about, it's just so important to find the ones that are going to be not just a trend, right? So these are things that are trending, but the reason they're trending is because they increase the productivity, the functionality of our day-to-day lives, and that's the kind of stuff I love. This one, I'm going to call it the integrated oversized pantry. And what I mean by that is essentially we have seen the butler's pantry really growing in popularity over the past few years. We did a butler's pantry in our most recent home and loved it. It was right off the kitchen, so it was convenient. It was still its own separate space. It had a door on it, actually 2 doors. The functionality of it was amazing. What we're seeing even more now is almost like the pantry space is becoming more of the kitchen, but it's almost just like there's an open, visible part of the kitchen and then there's a hidden part of the kitchen. So I'm going to show you some examples. I went to this parade home that was by, Remedy Design, and who was the builder? RC Dent Construction. And it was so pretty. They did a perfect example of this where it was a similar setup to my kitchen, you know, that concept of it's sort of behind, you have a door that's off to the side and the pantry's kind of behind the kitchen in this case. And there's a door on either side, which I love. And what they did was make this pantry really just kind of flow from either side. So you have 2 doors and you can kind of go in and out. And there was a lot of useful space back there, a sink, and you can kind of see just like the open storage. There's a window in there. So you get this really beautiful feeling. It feels like, you know, part of the kitchen, but it's kind of the working part of the kitchen. So you can easily hide the messes. It's tucked behind there, but then it's not like you have to open doors to get into this separate space. It's really integrated into the overall kitchen. It's just that it has a little bit more privacy and a little bit more separation from that main area where your guests are going to be in the kitchen. So I really love this, and we're seeing it more and more. A lot of the parade homes that I've toured this year include a version of this or something similar. The first time that I remember seeing this concept and I loved it was from Jackson and Leroy years ago in their parade home called Ancient Modern. If any of you guys have seen that house, it's stunning. I bet you there's probably even videos of it on YouTube. They did a phenomenal job with this integrated pantry concept where it's tucked away. And I think that the reason that this increases the function of the kitchen is just that practicality aspect. We've kind of come to make the kitchen, it's always really been the center of the home, but when you go back over the years, it's actually interesting to see the trends in how kitchens were in homes. You know, back in like the 50s and 60s, a lot of the times the kitchen wasn't a showpiece. It was just function and kind of a lot of times galley style and sort of hidden. And then as time has gone on, we've, you know, realized how beautiful kitchens can be. And even in fact, in my last home, which I call the European Organic Modern, it's fine, I forgot the name for a second. Even though, you know, some people like to have the kitchen tucked away a little bit, I really wanted it to be the focal point. You saw it when you came in the front door. Really, you see the dining room, but you got a piece of the kitchen. And I kind of was like, I'm gonna just go for it because I love the way that it looks, and it will also force me to keep it more tidy. But I did have that butler's pantry secret tucked away where we could kind of have the mess, most of the mess where it wasn't visible. And so I think that that's really what this integrated pantry allows, is for the kitchen to still be such a focal point of the home, that gathering place that we really want it to be for entertaining and that sort of thing. But then we have a functional element to it that really tucks away the working elements of the kitchen. Sometimes people will even put some of their appliances tucked back in there. Typical, you know, to see a sink for sure. Sometimes, you know, the smaller appliance for sure, like the blender, those things that are going to be, you know, often creating messes on your countertop. That's, you know, what these spaces are perfect for. And so in terms of building and even in remodeling, a lot of people are looking at this idea to make their home more functional and beautiful. This is probably one of the ones that I think will be an enduring trend for that reason, just for how it aids in the life of the modern family and how we live. So keep an eye out for the integrated kitchen oversized pantry. I really think this will be a great one to watch for. If you have missed any of the previous trends that we've been talking about, we'll call them timeless trends. There are a couple others that I have been focusing on lately that I think are really important to look at as well, so you can kind of get a feel for the direction if you're building a home, kind of some of the things that are becoming really staples in construction. So with this concept being something that I'm loving myself, we are going to integrate a version of this into our new home that we're building. It's actually already designed, and I think you guys are gonna love it. It's got a lot of function packed into this space that I think will be really game changing for our family and the flow of the home. That part is so important. I think just kind of how you move through a home and how it operates in terms of, you know, when you're hosting people or even on a daily basis with getting the kids out the door for school, how you're preparing their lunches and these things that we, you know, have as part of our daily life. How do we kind of streamline that system? And really, sometimes the solutions to a more productive home and a more functional home are actually not more expensive. Sometimes they can be, but a lot of times it's just thinking through those details. And so that's a big part of what I love to do in our projects and in designing homes, is to really think through the things that could be improved upon. It kind of reminds me of this story my mom used to tell us when I was a kid about, I swear she told me it was her grandma, but I also have heard this story from other people, so I think it's just kind of like an old wives' tale. But the grandma that would, her amazing like pot roast recipe was like you had to cut off both ends of the pot roast and then season it and whatever and cook it. Well, for like years and years and years, everyone followed the recipe, and then it turned out that the cutting off both ends was just because the grandma's crock pot originally was too small to fit like a full-size roast. And so it's like one of these things that sometimes we forget to look at why we're doing something. We think that it's part of how we build a home or whatever. This does apply, I promise. Essentially, like things that have been done in home construction for years and years and years, and maybe there's a better way. You know, maybe as life has changed and our circumstances and our family size or our, you know, whatever it may be, there's a better way to do it. There's a better way to live or a better way for the space to work than what's been done forever and ever. So don't be afraid to challenge the norms and really look at how you specifically live and break out of those things that we see maybe real commonly, which is really, I guess, an argument against trends. But in this case, I think that this trending idea is very applicable to the functionality. And I don't know, I just think about why you're cutting off the ends of the roast. You know, is it just tradition? Is it just because years ago somebody else did it and it worked then, or it was the only way it worked for that circumstance? Kind of a weird analogy, but thank you guys for watching, and we'd love to have a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this whole integrated pantry idea. Give us a like, check me out over on Instagram at Design Loves Detail, and we'd love to have you guys subscribe and click that bell to be notified of future videos as well.